Hi everyone, and welcome back to The Indie Pop Girl, the podcast for music chat, new releases, hidden gems, and nostalgic deep dives. The throwbacks have been briefly paused to make way for another brand new release review. I'll be discussing the highly anticipated project from Olivia Rodrigo titled You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. And before we get into the episode, if you enjoy music discussions like this, please consider following the podcast or leaving a like, depending on where you're listening. It really helps the show reach more people, and it means a lot for a small independent podcast like this one. You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love is the third studio album by American singer-songwriter Olivia Rodrigo. It was released on the 12th of June 2026 through Geffen Records. It is the follow-up to her sophomore smash Guts, which was released in 2023. The production was handled by Olivia's longtime collaborator Dan Nigro, with additional production from Mike Wise, Noah Conrad, and podcast regular Jim E. Stack. The record also features a collaboration with Olivia's hero Robert Smith of The Cure on the track What's Wrong With Me. I won't be covering in this episode how I discovered Olivia, so if you are curious and want to know more, please check out my previous episode covering the Guts record. I go into detail how I became a fan, and the episode is part of the Pop Girl series that I dropped last year. The project is divided into two parts, Girl So in Love and You Seem Pretty Sad, and the record sees Olivia break away from her usual pop-punk rock that was consistent in her previous two albums. She has also broken away from the purple theme that was present in the album artwork for Sour and Guts. Sour and Guts were like from the same sonic universe. It was Olivia making her mark as an artist and songwriter. This project feels so sonically different. There is experimentation, but there is also a sense of maturity and growth now that Olivia is older and wiser. To me, it feels like Olivia is wiping the slate clean with this latest project. Using The Cure as a core inspiration, Olivia cleverly sprinkles references throughout the record, which helps drive the clear sonic direction she is taking. She always knows stylistically what album she wants to make. It's her rules, and she isn't afraid to take risks and to do something completely different. Like I mentioned in my Guts episode, I might be in the wrong demographic, but there is something about Olivia that I really admire. She writes from the heart, and I love that. She is a true music fan who embraces all genres, and that bleeds into her songwriting and aesthetic. This record has been described as indie pop, and I will be honest, it got me so pumped up for it when Olivia performed on Saturday Night Live with Wise Blood on backing vocals. That was a collaboration that I did not see coming at all. I think Olivia is experimenting with the indie-leaning sound and seeing where it takes her, and that really makes me excited for what she could deliver in the years to come. Like all new releases that I cover on the podcast, I will try to capture as much as I possibly can. Of course, I won't pick up everything, but I will highlight any lyrics that stand out or any details in the production. I feel that this is the sort of record which will slowly reveal over time, but I will do my best during the track-by-track breakdown. As I have mentioned in previous episodes, I will not be playing clips of the songs, so if you are curious, then please support the artists I cover by streaming, downloading, or buying physical copies. Thank you. Track 1, Drop Dead. I usually have a rule to hearing singles before a huge album drop, but trying to avoid this track has been impossible. It's been played quite a bit on UK radio and it's been popular on social media, but hearing a quick snippet here and there isn't the same compared to sitting down properly to listen to a new album. I will be honest, from what I heard, it didn't instantly grab me compared to Vampire from Guts. Now that I have given the record a few listens, I've started to warm up to Drop Dead. What is notable lyrically is that the track is a departure from the usual heartbreak with her lead singles. Instead, Olivia talks about a new crush and an obvious infatuation with this person. The synth in the intro really stands out. It gives a subtle build before Olivia comes in. It doesn't take her long before she references The Cure. She sings in verse 1, "You know all the words to Just Like Heaven." That is probably one of the reasons Olivia is so infatuated with this new person. Having that mutual affection for the same music is the most beautiful thing. And in the song Just Like Heaven by The Cure plays on the same theme of love and longing. It feels like it's all tied together beautifully in Drop Dead. It is the perfect opener for the album and the introduction to the Girl So In Love section. Olivia confirmed that the song was inspired by a first date, and she captures that dizzying blend of butterflies, excitement, and anxiety when you start to fall for someone new. The music video, directed by Petra Collins, was filmed at the Palace of Versailles, which ties in with the line from the chorus. It captures that dizzying feeling of being in love. Olivia looks relaxed and so carefree, running around wearing headphones. The visuals are so lush and colourful and ties in with the album artwork and imagery for this era. Instead of the usual purple, Olivia opts for pink and blue, which could represent the two sections for the record. Track 2, Stupid Song. Olivia continues the theme of infatuation, but here she puts on a unique spin on a love song. She was inspired by the book Simple Passion, written by Annie Ernaux. The book explores an affair, but she is deeply unhappy and becomes overwhelmed by longing. Olivia explained that she was inspired by love making you insane and miserable. It really is quite complex, and to be honest, these kinds of themes made me think of the Pet Shop Boys. Quite often, Neil Tennant's lyrics can put an unexpected spin on a love song, and I find that approach fascinating. Olivia packs in so much into this track. There is so much detail, and I'm sure a lot of people would be able to relate to what she is talking about. She uses poetic imagery to convey her feelings and really is quite lovely. The standout line in verse 1, they say that honest love is a cage that makes you feel free. It really does sum up what the whole song is about. Her vocal delivery in the verses is quite calm and soothing, and then when it builds up to the chorus, she is more frantic and desperate, which to me sounds like Olivia is trying to break free. By definition, a cage implies confinement, entrapment, and a loss of autonomy. And in the chaotic vocal delivery, it's like Olivia is unravelling in that moment. You really do feel every word. Sonically, it's quite unexpected. It would have worked as a simple piano ballad, but it slowly builds into an indie pop rock song. By the time the bridge comes along, that instrumental break before the pre-chorus gives me New Order vibes with the drums and guitar tone. Olivia's vocals in the pre-chorus are quite pulled back in the mix, and it instantly reminded me of Wolf Alice. Olivia's vocal delivery in that moment is something Ellie Rousel would deliver. I have read that Olivia is inspired by Wolf Alice, and they are one of the support acts for Olivia's 2027 tour to support this record. Stupid Song has really grown on me with repeated listens and is one of my highlights on the record for sure. Track 3, Honeybee. This track is absolutely beautiful in every way. The simple arrangement is so powerful, it gives the lyrics and Olivia's vocals their moment to shine. Her layered vocals in the chorus is breathtaking. I think people will be able to take away a lot in this track and relate to the message no matter what your age is. One of my favourite reactors, Connor and Kevin from Turning the Tables, recently reacted to this record, and Kevin got really emotional during this track, and it really got me. Kevin talked about grief and loss, and I felt his emotion. They complimented Olivia's songwriting and how it's elevated in this project, and I completely agree. It's a simple, straightforward love song, and Olivia expresses sincere feelings for this person, and there is a nuance and vulnerability to the writing, which is just lovely. The string arrangement is sublime and feels like it belongs in a Disney film. It's optimistic and light, but it also has an underlying melancholic undertone running through it. The track features background vocals from Conan Gray, which add texture and a haunting atmosphere. Olivia is truly in love with this person, but there is still something off about it, that it's all going to fall apart. That balance is so difficult to pull off, but Olivia executes it with so much ease. I looked at the album credits and noticed that Olivia is the sole songwriter for this track, and even though I am not surprised, it's still equally impressive. Track 4, Maggots for Brains. This gave me instant 80s new wave vibes with the intro. I could hear The Cure, and this sound really suits Olivia's songwriting and where she is right now artistically. Co-written with Amy Allen, this is catchy and perfectly produced. I love the use of the acoustic guitar, and it just flows really well. Olivia expresses some honesty in the lyrics. I feel she is so hard on herself sometimes, but she just writes from the heart, and I really admire that. The song explores the feelings of extreme love sickness and codependency when separated from a partner. I think we have all felt like that at times. I know when my husband is away with work or something, I don't know what to do with myself. The time drags no matter how much you try to plan your day and to keep busy. Even cooking dinner feels like a chore. You feel that there is no point in cooking just for one, and you end up with something awful. I'm sure that a lot of people will be able to relate to the message of the song. The picture that Olivia is painting in the lyrics is just so relatable. She's not afraid to express her insecurities, and the chorus is so descriptive of that. In verse 2, she sings, and sometimes, at a low point, I even wish for a tragedy, 'cause I know he'd come over and take real good care of me. This speaks to a deep sense of insecurity. Olivia feels she cannot generate her own emotional stability or worth, relying entirely on her partner's caretaking to feel secure and loved. It captures the desperate desire for validation and attention, dark thoughts that a lot of people would be too afraid to admit. The "what can I do" refrain has been in my head since the album dropped. I wasn't sure about this track on my first listen, but the more I have sat with the album, the more that the songs have started to grow on me. I love that piano tone that comes in at the end. It's very 80s coded, very new wave, and that piano tone instantly reminds me of the sort of thing Simple Minds would use in their production, and that is not a bad thing. Track 5, You and Me. Again, the intro of this song tells you that this record is sonically in a completely different space from Olivia's previous projects. I will be honest, I was a little bit underwhelmed by some tracks on my first initial listen, but I stayed patient. I think some records are just programmed to work like that. This is an album that slowly reveals itself over time. Let the tracks have space and not make up your mind with just one listen. The more I have sat with this track, the more it reminds me of that jangly guitar indie pop found in Snail Mail or Soccer Mommy. I love the line about wanting her partner to buy Olivia silver jewellery and all my favourite Cadbury. First of all, Olivia has great taste when it comes to jewellery. Silver is elite. And this also ties in with a British connection. Olivia's ex-partner was British actor Louis Partridge, and I suspect Olivia spent quite a lot of time over here. I have heard her talk about her love for Marks and Spencer and sausage rolls, and now she's a Cadbury chocolate lover. Another thing that I love about Olivia is how normal and down to earth she is. She always injects so much character and personality into her songs. The production is so on point. The arrangement and Olivia's vocals are so perfectly balanced by Nigro. They really have such an awesome creative partnership. They bring the best out of each other, and these songs feel like a natural progression and elevation to Olivia's songwriting. I love the fuck it whatever moment in the song. It reminded me of the fuck it it's fine from Bad Idea Right. In both songs, Olivia uses this specific phrase as a dramatic tool to interrupt her own overthinking. Unlike Bad Idea Right, where Olivia was making a bad decision, here she is using the fuck it whatever to make a good choice. She is using an indie pop attitude to block out any negativity and just to dive into love anyway. Track 6, My Way. I've seen a bit of a mixed reaction to this track online. Some have compared it to Paramore, which I get, but I could be completely off track here. But as soon as I heard the chorus, I instantly thought of Garbage. Olivia's backing vocals made me think of Shirley Manson's vocal delivery. Lyrically, it's really interesting. It seems that Olivia is describing her partner's ex-girlfriend who refuses to respect relationship boundaries. Olivia describes this girl as lingering, just like a bad perfume, and is constantly calling or crossing lines. I really love how Olivia drops being nice in the bridge. She sings, "So where do you get that confidence from? Last time I checked, I won. Let me be direct. Just stop. You're being fucking weird. Maybe I'm a petty bitch, but you made me resort to this. That's it. I win." It might come across as petty, but I love this energy from Olivia. I think this sound suits Olivia so much and gives the record a bit of a 90s alternative energy. It's one track from the record that really gets under your skin with that catchy chorus. Olivia has played with this sound before on her previous records, but here it feels more refined. It's less pop punk, but leans more into indie with some new wave elements. I love how Olivia isn't afraid to switch up the genres with this record, And often she will overlap and have that crossover, which makes the listening experience all the more satisfying, and you really don't know what's coming next. Track 7, Purple. I love how this sounds. Sonically, this is right up my street. It's atmospheric and a little bit experimental. It's got Jimmy Stack written all over it. You can really feel his presence in the instrumental and production. I love Olivia's approach to the vocals. It sounds stunning. That guitar that comes in during the intro is so satisfying. One thing that struck me about this record is how Olivia is approaching her vocal tone and deliveries with the tracks. I adore her performance on Can't Catch Me Now, and I feel she is going for the same here. She really is taking creative risks and expanding as a vocalist. She is trying different things, experimenting with her sound, and giving the listener variety. It's interesting how this is the last track from the Girls So In Love section, as you can feel a shift changing sonically. Lyrically, there is also a bit of a shift. You feel that the relationship has changed. There is some unsettling tension in the song, which matches a scenario that Olivia is describing. The relationship has turned, excused upon, sour with some toxicity. The line of melt with you till it all turns black, when you get so close and you can't go back. Melt with you till it just feels sad. That is just so poetic and beautiful. You can tell that Olivia's songwriting has elevated. Her choice of words and how she is structuring her lyrics together, and this track is proof of that. I think this is one of the most underrated tracks from the record, but I feel that sonically, this is something that I would return to over and over again. Even though there is no purple present in the artwork this time, Olivia still ties her purple roots into the project and weaves the colour cleverly into the lyrics. I just love how she is tying elements together. That attention to detail is something that I always appreciate. If you're listening right now and enjoying this, this is your cue to hit like before you forget. I really do appreciate all of the support. Thank you. Track 8, The Cure. So this is the start of the You Seem Pretty Sad section, and you can really feel the presence of The Cure in this record. And I love how Olivia has pulled in the influence into the tracks and even named this track after them. I avoided listening to this when it dropped as I wanted to save it for the album experience, and I'm so glad I did. I'm going to say it now, The Cure is a career highlight for Olivia. It's so well written and structured. That guitar in the intro instantly made me think of Everlong by Foo Fighters, but it gradually builds into something that the Smashing Pumpkins or Garbage would produce in the 90s. Talking of Garbage, when I saw the video to The Cure, it made me think of Shirley Manson from the Bleed Like Me video. I think there are some visual parallels between the two videos, the clinical and medical aesthetic, and Olivia and Shirley both playing the role of a nurse. I am not sure if Olivia is inspired by Shirley or is paying homage, but I think with this track, Olivia is cleverly incorporating all these indie and alternative sounds that she is inspired by, but making it completely her own at the same time. Verse 3 is brutal, but Olivia expresses painful honesty. She sings, Used to play a game in my head when I date a guy, tally up the girls that he fucked, till I start to cry. These lyrics depict an intensely raw and dark portrayal of romantic insecurity, focusing on compulsive jealousy and self-sabotage. By turning a partner's sexual history into a mental game and keeping score, Olivia intentionally seeks out painful details, driving herself into an emotional breaking point. This behaviour highlights a toxic, self-destructive cycle where she weaponises her partner's past against her own self-esteem, ultimately showcasing the internal struggle she aims to overcome. Olivia's vocals are simply out of this world. The layering of the "I'm unravelled" is just genius, and how the track just blows wide open is so satisfying. I would love for Olivia to explore this sound in the future because it suits her voice so much. Everything about this track just works, every element. You can tell the love and attention to detail in The Cure, and I am saying it now, it is an SOTY contender for sure. Track 9, Begged. Begged is more stripped back with some lovely acoustic guitar on display. Her layered vocals really shine here, and it sounds wonderful. I love how she's doing different techniques with her vocal performances in this record. Sonically, it is restrained compared to the other tracks, but it really captures the emotional weight of the "You Seem Pretty Sad" section in the second half. I think this track displays some of Olivia's best lyrics. She is descriptive and shows off so much nuanced imagery that you would expect from an artist much older. Her pen game is seriously devastating, and the imagery and metaphors really jump out in the stripped back arrangement. It might not be the track that instantly jumps out on you on first listen, but one that quietly creeps up on you when you don't expect it to. This record to me is Olivia's singer-songwriter project, and I am not saying Sour and Guts aren't either, but here it feels like Olivia is pushing herself creatively and sonically. It comes off very mature, using her influences as a guide to deliver some thoughtful and intelligent pop music. That clinging to hope like snow on mountains line is such a standout, and further proof of how Olivia's songwriting has elevated. Track 10, What's Wrong With Me? This track was premiered at the Primavera Sound Festival, and I saw clips online of Olivia performing the song with Robert Smith of The Cure, but I saved listening to the track fully as I wanted to experience it properly on album release day. It's the first feature on an Olivia project, and how amazing to have one of her musical heroes to collaborate with. We know of Olivia's love for The Cure, and their influence is sprinkled all throughout this record. But this moment feels full circle in every way. I fell in love with how this track sounds instantly. It's everything I am drawn to, the sadness and melancholy, the sense and having the one and only Robert Smith singing with Olivia. I am fucking here for it. There is something so satisfying when you are a huge fan of both artists in a duet, and when it clicks like this, you just wish that they had collaborated sooner. I would say that it is a bold and brave move of Olivia having Robert Smith on board, as I would assume that a lot of her fan base will be unfamiliar with the work of The Cure. I am proud of Olivia that she is sticking to her guns, pushing herself creatively, and there is something really powerful and profound having two artists from different generations coming together for a beautiful pop moment. Lyrically, it talks about how a toxic romantic relationship can trigger severe, physically exhausting anxiety and depression. It's clever as you initially blame yourself for feeling so shit. But as the song progresses, the realization is that the partner is the root cause for the mental distress. It's something that I fully relate to, and I'm sure a lot of people will connect to the message of the lyrics. I have been there with an ex-partner. You feel like you're going insane. Olivia sings about staring at the ceiling, feeling out of body in bed, having a pounding head, a spinning mind, an inability to eat or sleep, and feeling a literal weight on her chest. All the meditation and wine in the world are not going to fully erase these devastating feelings and emotions. Olivia taps into that world. She gets it. The first time I heard this track, I was deeply moved. So many references in the lyrics that I connected to, especially with the line, and I'm just searching up my symptoms, desperate to fix them. The health anxiety which totally consumes you. You feel like there is something wrong with you. You don't want to know, but you can't help but to Google it. The symptom checking spiral. Yep, I get that too. I honestly didn't think that a track like this would come along to completely destroy me. But at the same time, hearing Robert Smith's vocals come in and hearing them singing together was like a comfort blanket. That reassurance that everything is going to be all right and that you will be healed eventually. Their voices blend so beautifully together and they have so much love and respect for one another. I have seen some say that Robert's vocals are a bit out of place and that they don't go together. I'm sorry, but they are so fucking wrong. This is the collaboration and song that I needed. Just like If Only I Could Wait by Bon Iver featuring Danielle Haim last year, which destroyed and healed me all at the same time. This track and feature take me to the exact same place, and I will still be talking about this song at the end of the year. Track 11, Less. A stripped back piano ballad with the focus on the heartbreaking lyrics and Olivia's vocal performance. This reminded me of Coffee by Chapel Rowan, also produced by Dan Nigro. Both songs are devastating, with an ultra focus on the lyrics and vocal delivery. The lyrical themes tie in with the previous track. Olivia opens up the song with I Feel It Again, edge of the bed, body and head protesting, my stomach's in knots, I don't want to talk. I watched John Denton's reaction recently and he was moved to tears by this track, and I get it. It doesn't matter what age you are, if you are in the demographic or not. If music moves you, it moves you. Olivia projects heartbreak so beautifully. There is hurt and pain, but maturity and growth at the same time. It really works beautifully coming from the previous track, and the placement in this record is key. Having the project split into two parts, you really feel the journey of this relationship, from the love and infatuation to the bitter heartbreak. It reads like a concept album. Olivia has completely served and delivered in every way. This track feels like a brand new version of Olivia, and I am so excited to see what she has in store in the future. Track 12, Expectations. I think this is the one that will divide on opinion. This track is a change of pace. The new wave synths are back with Olivia's lovely vocal layering. Sonically, I really liked it on first listen, but I was struggling to connect with it as a whole. I have sat with this record quite a bit over the week, and my opinion has now changed. I get a Chapel Roan feel from it with the synths and energy, and it's started to grow on me now. That chorus is so catchy and it really gets under your skin. It's high energy, which is a refreshing change this late on in the record. Olivia is still bringing on the heartbreak at the end of the relationship, but here she is making it fun, and it seems like she's letting her hair down a bit. That bridge is so unexpected. I really wasn't expecting a shift to come in like that, but really admire Olivia and Dan Nigro taking some sonic risks. I think it plays homage to Madonna, 1980s dance pop like Cyndi Lauper, but it also reminded me of Chapel. It sounds classic but modern all at the same time. I love how Olivia's vocals are pitched. Again, it's something that I didn't expect. Tracks like this are proof that you have to sit with a new release sometimes. You can't listen to something once and make up your mind. I'm glad that I have sat with this record before giving you my review, because I really wasn't sure. But I stayed patient, and if you are struggling with this one, give it time, because when it clicks, it clicks. Track 13, Cigarette Smoke. The final track is a bittersweet, cinematic chamber pop and indie rock ballad that serves as the definitive emotional closure to the album's turbulent narrative. The song uses cigarette smoke as an extended metaphor for a toxic past relationship. Just like smoke, the memory of her ex clings to her clothes and everyday life long after the actual flame has been put out. It explores the painful transition from active heartbreak to a quiet, lingering numbness, capturing the realization that moving on is a slow, messy process rather than a sudden shift. I think this track ties together the whole narrative and all the other tracks on the record. Verse 2 has the lines of, "Some nights can be so fucking lonely, but it's better than begging for you to stand up for me, honeybee." It's clever how Olivia links in begging and honeybee into cigarette smoke. And she also released a single vinyl with these two songs, which makes complete sense, and it feels like they are from the same universe. The outro also feels tied in with Honeybee. Olivia sings, "Tell me something honest so the memories turn dark." In Honeybee, she says, "In the dark, I'm not scared. I just reach and you're right there." I love when artists tie in and reference other tracks at the end. Billie Eilish used the same approach at the end of Hit Me Hard and Soft, and I feel Olivia is using the same approach. It's incredibly satisfying, but it screams to me that Olivia is now expanding her musical palette and trying things that she's never really done before. She's pushing what she can do artistically, and not only has she produced the best pop album of the year, but she has developed into an artist who cares about her craft. I think this indie pop lane is one of her strengths, and I hope it's something that she will explore further in the future. Cigarette Smoke feels like the final curtain. I loved Guts, but this project is on a completely different level. Olivia absolutely knocked it out of the park with this project. And together with Dan Nigro's immaculate production, this is a project which I will guarantee will be called a future pop classic. As the reviews have continued to roll in, it's clear that You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love has resonated with both critics and fans alike. The album has received widespread critical acclaim, with many reviewers praising Olivia's continued growth as a songwriter and artist, showing greater confidence. What struck me most, though, wasn't just the quality of the songs themselves, but the confidence of the album as a complete body of work. At a time when so much modern pop is shaped by playlists, algorithms, and the pressure to grab attention within seconds, Olivia has taken a more old school approach. These songs are allowed to breathe. Intros set the mood, bridges build tension, and outros are given space to leave a lasting impression. Rather than rushing to the next hook, the album trusts the listener to stay with it. It's a reminder that great pop music doesn't have to sacrifice depth or ambition. You can have memorable melodies, huge choruses, and songs that connect instantly, while still creating an album that feels cohesive and carefully crafted from beginning to end. For me, that's what makes this record so refreshing. It embraces the album experience in a way that feels increasingly rare in the streaming era, and in doing so, proves that pop music can still be thoughtful, substantial, and rewarding when artists are willing to take their time and tell a bigger story. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you've enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate it if you could follow, like, or share, as it helps other music lovers discover my podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to the Indie Pop Girl podcast. It really helps the algorithm push the video out to more people, and as a small independent podcast that's still growing, every like and subscription genuinely makes a huge difference. I'm posting full episodes, shorts, and little teasers over there, so there's always something new to watch. Let me know in the comments if you love this record and if you are a fan of Olivia. I always read and respond to comments, and I love hearing what you all think. You can also find me on Instagram and Threads at theindiepopgirl, and on TikTok at the Indie Pop Girl podcast. And if you want to dive even deeper, there's a public Spotify playlist called Favourite Tracks from Podcast Episodes, where I add some of my top picks from each record I cover. It's updated as new episodes drop, so you might just find your next obsession. The throwbacks will be returning next week, and we are returning to the dance floor with a record that was released back in 2005. It's one of my favourite electronic albums from a duo I haven't covered on the podcast yet. Until then, I'm Rachel, the Indie Pop Girl. Thanks for listening, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.